Alrighty out there, guys. What's the story? Welcome along to another late edition of 420 News. It's Friday. Hi there, guys. And my sincere apologies, guys, for being late on my delivery of 420 News today. Fecked up. Basically, we had some work going on here in the house, and there was a bit of fucking drilling going on, and there was no way I was going to be able to go live. And as soon as the worker went off, then I had a meeting to go to, so I just said, look, I'll go at 20 past 6. And I see somebody, Ken Green, says it's 420 somewhere, and I actually went on a bit of a mission to figure out where in the hell in the world is it 420. And it was actually a bit of a tough find, in fairness. So I was kind of trying to figure out where is a 420. So that search brought me to this little island here, right out in the middle. So like there's nowhere else in the world right now where it's 420 except in this place, South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. Sounds like a right place to get the munchies, in fairness. So I hope they got the old ham and cheese sandwiches down there with some of the good old cheese and onion potatoes as well to go inside it. But like, yeah, a curious old place. I've never heard of this place. It's an uninhabitable island, apparently, according to Wikipedia. But there is these really cool looking photos of it. This kind of abandoned, I don't know what this place was, maybe a fishing kind of outlet or something like that once upon a time. It's owned by the UK, strangely enough. You know, look at the position of it. Like, it's over here, and like the UK is over here. Like, how the fuck does the UK own this gaff? Like, what's going on there? So yeah, it's strange enough. Like, but really cool looking place. Abandoned. Apparently, nobody living there except all these guys. And yeah, maybe they enjoy the 420. There was one guy, I seen him, here he is. This guy enjoys 420. Look at him, he's having a nice 420 nap there for himself. Like, so yeah, like I'm glad I went on the mission to find where in the world is a 420 at 20 past 6 in Ireland. And it's this little island, like in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful looking spot. So there you go, guys. A bit of useless information for you to get the 420 news underway today. So yeah, some cool photos there from that little island. So guys, I'm going to pack up a bowl and I'm going to blaze one with you. And apologies, I've seen a few people that made efforts to get out to their beauty spots earlier. Man, sure fudge. Apologies, my man. Hope you're out there, and I hope you got another one rolled up. You know, that was a lovely looking smoking spot you were at, actually, in fairness. Lovely spot to be taken in 420 News. But yeah, as Scally says, look, it is better late than never, guys, and it's always 420 somewhere in the world. You're going to find somewhere where innovative old stoners, like, you know, where there's where there's weed is going to be smoked. So there we go, guys. Happy 420 to the seals and penguins of the South Sandwich Islands. Your day of freedom will come soon. We'll get you freed from the UK. We'll get your independence. All right, on with the 420 news, guys, because we've a bit to get through today. So on we go. The first bit of news today is there was a mother who had taken to Instagram to share with the world her story that her daughter, her preschooler, was attending her first day of preschool. And her daughter had a pretty interesting name, it seemed, and a lot of people took distaste in it online when she shared it. So as you can see here in the in the headline, she named her daughter Indica. And she spelt it Indikah, Indica. Apparently it's her favourite cannabis strain. And it seemed that it wasn't taken too well when it got shared on a Reddit group, and they slated her. But in fairness, like, some of these Reddit groups, they're filled with like, people who believe in abstinence, and they have all sorts of ludicrous ideas. So it's no surprise that she got slammed for it. But again, you know, I was chatting with Adrian Lynch, the Enlightened Lady Talker, last week, and released her podcast there, I believe, only on Wednesday. But she's a mother, and she's a perfectly good mother by the sounds of it. You know, she's her head well screwed on. She has an idea of where she wants to take her life, as in she's skilling herself up, educating herself. So why is it that being a mother is, or a cannabis toking mom is bad? Like, who cares if she named her daughter Indica? It actually sounds like a kind of a nice name, in fairness, Indica. Come here, Indica. What would you like for dinner, Indica? Yeah, it's like, it's not a bad name. I've seen some atrocious names out there. You see the celebrities, and like, was there like one apple bottom or something like that? I don't know. There's some fucking weird names out there, for kids in the celebrity world. Like, I think, is it Jay-Z? Does he have like fucking north and south and east and west and all sorts of different directions as kids, you know? So yeah, like, lay off the mother. Like, it seems like they're just picking on her because she named her daughter after a cannabis strain. Like, who cares? Like, it's a nice. I think it's a nice name. I don't have any issues with it. Do you? See, John Roth, you belongs to Steel Martin. Nice one. Takes a bit of practice, all right. That's for sure. It's 4:22 in Santa Carla. Where is Santa Carla? I'm gonna have to look that one up there afterwards, because that didn't come up in my search. I was trying to find it. Like, there was a lot of places in Brazil that are like, it was 3:20, but I couldn't find anywhere. So let me know where Santa Carla is, and yeah, nice one for that. It's always somewhere where there's 420. You see, there wasn't just one place. Nice one. Yeah, you see, Yellow Mellow thinks it's a beautiful name as well, and it beats Mary Jane. Yeah, Mary Jane's a nice name too. And Francis is a bit late tuning in. Welcome along to the show, Francis. It's good to have you along. And isn't Paltrow's kid called Apple? Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a kid called Apple, I thought. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah, Paltrow. Yeah, you could be bang on the button there. So yeah, let's get on with it, guys. So more news, and this is coming from our Gardaí next. The Gardaí have been busy. They've made 3 arrests, and they've seized €59,000 in cash and 40 kilos of cannabis. And that 59,000 in cash seizure, that was made in Cork City, or out on where exactly in Cork was it? Yeah, it just says County Cork, and 40,000 of cannabis in Athlone. Oh yeah, so there was a car that was stopped and searched in Glanmire, and they found €59,000 worth of cash inside in the car. And there was a man in the car and a teenage girl with him. The man was in his 20s, and it doesn't say what age the teenager was. She could have been 18, 19, who knows. Both of them were arrested and brought to Mayfield Guard Station, and they were released afterwards. And obviously there's going to be, the DPP are going to be putting together a file and bringing them to court. And then there was a follow-up search then in relation to the incident. So I don't know what the crack was, and this was, did somebody rat? Did the little girl sing? Did a 20-year-old guy sing? Was there a phone found, and the phone had some incriminating evidence? Who knows? But the guards got lucky anyway, because whatever happened within the first search led them to a second search, where up in that loan, like quite a bit away from Cork, and they found €40,000 worth of cannabis, and it was 2 kilos in total. It wasn't plants, and the mobile phones, weighing scales, and a GPS tracker, and almost €1,000 in cash. And again, at this premises, there was a man aged in his late teens arrested. So like a man in his late teens, so maybe a 19-year-old at a gaff with €40,000 worth of cannabis, as the cops are saying, and a couple of phones. Like, again, they're not catching the kingpins here. Like, these are just kind of the gophers, if you will. You know, they're just being told to go to A to B, and they're probably getting about 100, 200 quid for their participation in this. And, you know, the kingpins in it are, you know, they're getting away. And the guards are happy with this, in fairness. Like, this is a successful operation. But in reality, it's not. You know, you've got a load of young people here who've been lured into a life of crime because of, like, maybe there's no other opportunities for these younger people. Who knows what it is that made them make that decision to kind of participate in this kind of thing. But, you know, through no fault of their own, you can't, like, they're only human at the end of the day. And, you know, there is a temptation there. And, you know, the guards, they're not successful in this. They really are not successful in this. They're you know, they might as well be down empty in the ocean with a bucket with a hole in the end of it, because, you know, they're wasting their time. And there was more searches carried out in Galway, and there was seizures of cannabis made down there too. And another file being sent to the DPP. So again, more people engaged in like this war on drugs. They're going to be bringing people to court for supplying a plant to people who wanted it. Do you know, there was a mutual trade taking place. I want cannabis, the other person wants money. Do you know what's wrong with that? Podge, you're a legend, man. Thanks very much. Much appreciated there for that donation. You're a legend. But again, it's a mutual beneficial trade. I have cannabis and you have money, do you know, and we want to trade. Like, how are the guards ever really going to stop that? They just have to hope they're going to get lucky. And meanwhile, like, it's the drug users are at risk because in that trade, you know, I could be a complete scumbag and have a knife in my pocket and just rob you of your money. Or if you're bringing me cannabis, I could be a complete scumbag and just rob you of your cannabis. How can you protect yourself in that? Really, like, you know? If you're a person going getting cocaine, you're a young person going getting pills, how can you be protected at all? You don't even have a facility to go and get them tested. It's ridiculous. Like, the only winners here in this in reality are the guards. They get seen like, oh, we're doing our job. Oh, great work, lads. Well done. You know, pat in the back. Like, they share the post up on Facebook, you know. It's adding to the statistics. Do you know, oh, we took this much drugs off to the streets this year. Aren't we great? Give us more money next year. But meanwhile, addiction services are actually going underfunded. You know, it's mad to think of it. Like, there was an article I came across there earlier where, and I don't know that I included it in today's headlines. Did I include it? Yeah, I did actually include it in today's headlines, but there's, and I'll get to it in a minute, but there's services going underfunded, but meanwhile the guards will argue they're doing a great job and to give them more money because what they're doing is great in order to prevent people getting access to drugs. But it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, what we know in reality is any seizure the guards make, and if it's a large seizure, all it's going to do, it's going to affect the supply of drugs, the quality of the drugs. It's going to affect the price of the drugs. That's all it really does. It doesn't make the drugs go away. No, it doesn't. It just makes the dealers like more ambitious to get the drugs to the street because now there's people more willing to pay a premium to get their drugs, you know? Podge, he's chatty, says, happy Friday, Martin, and hope everyone is well and keep her lit. Nice one again, Podge, for that. Much appreciated, man. And much appreciated everybody out there for your continued support and for bearing with me with well, all of the ups and downs of the shows. You know, we're learning as we go. It's a live show. Things happen. So yeah, on we go with the news. Let's highlight how more of our time and money has been wasted by the Gardaí in Ireland. And in Kilkenny, there was a cannabis herb found in two searches in Kilkenny last night. So this was after 6:30 on. No, sorry, that was the wrong one. So under a search warrant in Kilkenny, a residence last night yielded €1,000 worth of cannabis herb, and 3 men were arrested at the scene. And there was a separate stop and search then also carried out in the city, and there was €340 worth of the drugs searched or seized there, and that person's been summoned to court. So like, somebody in the guards took it upon themselves like to report this to the press. Oh guys, look what we done. Look what we done. Like, this is released through the press office of the Gardaí. Like, this isn't the journalist going in and saying like, oh, come here, did you find anybody with cannabis there lately? No, this is the guards like gloating about, oh, well, look at us, we're doing great work. Look in Kilkenny there. Look, I don't know, there's probably some fucking TD up there who wants to come and say, oh, look at me, look, I'm coming down hard on drugs, you know? Because really, like, these people benefit greatly off it. They're fighting a failed war on drugs. It's crazy, you know? Like, these guys think they're doing good. Oh, we took a little bit of cannabis. There's somebody going to court now because of this, you know? Some young 20-year-old, some young college student with his whole life ahead of him, like, and he's going to have his career jeopardized because he got caught with a little bit of cannabis. Shame on you guards for taking part in this and for not acknowledging you're failing. You're failing at your job, and in actual fact, what your job is doing. What you're doing by supporting prohibition is making the communities more dangerous. You're putting us at more risk. You're enabling the drug gangs. You're enabling them to get more powerful. You know, it's crazy. You can't even keep the drugs out of the prisons. Look, here's a headline for you. The prison chiefs made 1,251 drug seizures in Irish jails last year. That's not a small number of drug seizures. Like, that's a lot of drug seizures. In fairness, this is in the prisons. And like, I don't know if many people out there listens to the David McWilliams podcast. I listened to it there last night. It was a very good podcast, in fairness. Um, but like, he talked about, I believe it was the Mountjoy jail he talks about, and up in the Mountjoy jail, I think he said like that there was nearly 70 or 80% of the prisoners in Mountjoy are there for drugs. That's a large amount of people in prison for drug offences, whether it be involved in simple possession or drug dealing. Like, that's a large portion of the prison population that's involved in drugs. Like, again, like if we were to follow a model like Switzerland, where we supply through the heroin assisted therapies, the heroin to the people who are addicted, like the dealers go away. We take the money out of it, the dealers go away, because the dealers are only in it because there's money to be made. We take the money out of it, the dealers go away, the criminality goes away, our prisons become unfilled, or at least we can start filling them up with like real criminals. You know, that fella there a month or so ago who only got like 4 years, and he had a crowbar and a rope, and he was stalking and sending threatening messages to a woman, and he got arrested outside her door on the night he was about to break in, and he was threatened to rape and murder her and her young daughter, and he got 4 years. What in the name of God? And like, you get caught with like 20 kilos of cannabis there, and you're going to get like 10 years or something. It's mad. Like, it's mad to think that our prisons are being used to lock up drug offenders. And in fairness, like, the war on drugs has failed. We can't keep drugs out of our communities, and we can't even keep drugs out of the prisons, the place where we put people for having and selling drugs. What are we doing? This is a failure, you know? Seriously. It really is a massive, massive failure. Like, and I think like in saying that, the next one, I'll go to the other night's event with Carl Hart, and there's a little part of that I would like to play for you, just to go back to, and just to reiterate on something that Carl Hart said in the event with Gino Kenny on Wednesday night. Because I believe it's very important just to repeat this, and before I cover the next headline I'm going to cover. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to get this up there for you. Hopefully that'll play. There we go. Excellent stuff.
What we're doing with drug policy is silly, and also it impacts our liberty. But we have to ask, well, why are we doing this if it's silly and if it's limiting people's liberty? Why are we doing it? Well, we're doing it because prohibition actually does work. It works for a select group of people in our society. It works for the police. It works for the politicians who can say, we want to get, we're going to solve the problems in your community. We're going to put more cops on the streets, and we're going to get drugs out of your community. And those politicians look like heroes, when in fact, they are zeros, and they're not heroes. And so a number of people benefit from prohibition. And that's why we continue prohibition, because if it didn't work, then we wouldn't continue it. But so many people are benefiting, and we have to talk about those people who are benefiting and the people who are suffering. The people who are suffering, for example, are those people who may get a drug that's tainted with something else, and that person dies, or that person gets maimed, or that person is really injured severely. Those people are not benefiting. And the people who go to jail for drug laws, they're not benefiting. And most of us in society, we're not benefiting because the money that supports the war on drug or prohibition is coming from us, but we're not benefiting from the money. But a number of other people are benefiting from the money. And whenever we have this conversation, we have to make sure we discuss the folks who are benefiting from the current approach. Because if no one was benefiting from the current approach, then it would stop. The fact is, a tremendous number of people are benefiting from the current approach. And I think that I'll leave it there, and we can continue the conversation.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks.
And that's pretty much what I wanted to home in on before I go to this next piece, which is the people who benefit from prohibition because I haven't benefited from prohibition. Like many of ye out there have not benefited from prohibition. The people who benefit from prohibition, again, like outside of the massive drug cartels, it's our politicians and stuff, like, because like look at this fella like Maurice Quinlivan, because I covered him on the 420 news. He's a Sinn Féin TD. And I covered him on the 420 News a few weeks ago because he was highlighting a drug dealing going on within St. Mary's Park, a little housing estate up in Limerick. And yesterday now he had this post go up, kind of like patting. It's effectively like, he's just jacking himself. Oh, look at me, like, do you know what I mean? Self-flagellation, like, like, look how great I am, like, I did this. Like, this is effectively what he's saying, like, that I did this, like, and he's benefiting then off this. How he's benefiting off this is because he seemed to be hard on crime. He seemed to be coming down on this and doing good for the community, but he's not. He's not doing good because this is a failed war on drugs. Like, he's not successful in this because the drugs that we're taking out of that community are quickly going to be replaced. The people who are arrested in this, like, they're going to be quickly replaced. Like, when are we ever going to learn? Like, that's like the Einstein thing. Like, we're forever repeating ourselves, like, and expecting a different outcome. That's insane, Morris. Come on, like, and in fairness, like, I challenged him on it. I don't know if you were reading that his post there, like, but I'm not even going to read it. Basically, what happened up in Limerick anyway, they carried out a raid in a place that was called The Shop. Locally, it was known as The Shop. Effectively, it was where you go to get your drugs. Up there, they found what they say was 40,000 euro worth of 40,000 worth of drugs, I believe, and some of that was in the form of crack cocaine. So yeah, they found that up there, and I think there was like 10 grand in cash also seized up there. But I challenged them on this, like, and I kind of like, this is one thing. This is about as effective as using a bucket with a hole at the end of it to empty out the ocean. The war on drugs is lost. The best thing you politicians can do for our communities is to scrap the Misuse of Drugs Act that has created these drug gangs in the first place. And he never replied at all to that one. but also sent another one. I was like, Morris, would you support the motion for Sinn Féin to call an end to the war on drugs in Ireland and to truly to take a truly held approach to drug use that doesn't involve criminalising the drug user and puts in place quality control for the drug supply in order to protect the consumers and displace the criminal gangs who sell these drugs? Or do you support the current policies that enable drug gangs sell from housing estates like this? And in fairness, like, unlike Frank Feehan, our drugs minister, Morris actually replied. Did I like his reply? I didn't. I wasn't happy with it. I gave it a like because, look, I was happy that he actually took the time to reply to me on the issue after I asked him a question, but he didn't actually address my question. He says, hi, for me, guiding principles of a drug strategy must be reduction and prevention, and treatment and rehabilitation strategies must go hand in hand with recovery initiatives. We need a holistic approach to the issue of drug misuse that involves prevention, rehabilitation and recovery. Like, answer my question. That doesn't answer my question. It's just like in your holistic approach, like, Morris, are you saying we need to stop criminalizing drug users? We need to supply the drugs to the drug users? Is this what you're saying? Because that sounds holistic to me. Or are you saying we need to double down, maybe like harsher prison sentences, longer jail sentences for these criminals? Is that your holistic approach? What is it like? and I thanked him for his reply and everything, like, but I challenged him yet again. I said, in this holistic approach to drug use, you seem to focus only on problematic drug use. What of those who use illegal drugs, who do not need prevention, rehabilitation, or recovery? Are you happy to keep criminalising these people in order to help those that need it? Again, I ask you to just, do you support the current war on drugs, or is it time to end this? And I thanked him then afterwards for the first reply. And again, he replied a second time, but he didn't really answer it. He goes, I appreciate what you were saying on this. I have been a member of the Drug and Alcohol Task Forum. Again, like, just patting himself in the back, to see it as he's great. But, like, what have you achieved there? For years, and I have seen the destination that addiction can have, not just on the user or of the narcotic, but also on the people around them. Actions such as yesterday are important, but it is also critical that we support those who want assistance. Funding for support groups and recovery service is inadequate. So effectively, what Morris is saying here is look, if you if you have an addiction problem with drugs, I want to see services there for you. But the Gardaí's actions are also important for prevention because drug users are criminals and we should criminalise them for their actions. Is that what you're saying? Man, what in the name of God? Like, we either want to be compassionate and help people, or you want to criminalise and hurt people. Because that's what you do. When you criminalise me for my cannabis use, like an illegal drug, like you're hurting me. I don't need help. If I need help, if I feel like I'm addicted, I will seek help. But currently, I don't feel like I'm addicted. I'm able to do my college work. I'm able to do my podcasts. I'm able to get jobs. Like my day-to-day life is not affected, except when the guards are interfering with it. Do you know? So Morris, again, like, you know, I did, you know, challenge him yet again. I said, you know yourself that yesterday's raid is just a drop in the ocean when it comes to the drugs in the streets of Ireland. The people arrested yesterday will be quickly replaced by others who could be more violent and more willing to sell lower quality drugs, thereby putting the drug user at much greater risk. Why keep funding Gardaí to fight a failed war on drugs and instead fund our nurses and doctors to treat those who might be addicted, which in the schemes of things is actually on 10% of illegal drug users. So there you go. Like that was my interaction with Morris Quinlan. Like he wants to be seen hard on drugs, and he's a benefactor. He's one of these people who benefits off the war on drugs. Because again, like he passes this off as it's his work done. That he resulted in this headline. You know, 40 kilo or 40,000 of drugs and 10 kilo or 10,000 in cash seized. Do you know? So this is Morris Quinlan, and this is him benefiting off of the war on drugs. You know, our Gardaí also, you know, no doubt they have a Twitter post ready for it, like, and, you know, again, self-flagellation, like, oh, look at us, we're great, like, do you know what I mean, just all over, and, you know what I mean, like, oh, man, aren't we great, like, come on, like, this is ridiculous, like, we need to, like, I know people do, and I see it day in, day out, like, when the Gardaí are putting up posts of, like, raids, but please, people out there, like, when you see a post on cannabis, refrain from asking the Gardaí to target the heroin. Don't do it. It's all wrong. Like they shouldn't be going out after the heroin as such. Like we need to end the war on drugs. That's what we need to call for. We shouldn't be saying, oh, go for these guys because their drug is worse than our drug. That's not right. That's discriminatory. Like we're being stigmatic towards other drug users. So please, like I would ask people like not to engage in that sort of thing on those posts. Like I don't like it. It looks I think it looks bad on us because we're trying to make ourselves feel better by trying to put down another community of people. I just don't feel that that's right, and so please just don't do that. If you're going to do anything, guys, that video from Transform with Neil Woods, you know, an ex-police officer, share that. If you're going to do anything, like that's the right thing to do because he calls them out on it, and he does it in a very good way. So share that. Like please just don't, like when you see the cannabis stuff, don't be go get the heroin, go get the cocaine. I just don't like when I see that from the cannabis community. So yeah, let's drive on that anyway. Because in other news, we're going to go over to England, and again, like we're kind of going off the topic of cannabis, but we're just sticking to the topic of drug policy and drug policy reform and how it's been like circumvented in different ways. And in England, the Public Health England. And I'll just take off Peter's picture here. But Public Health England have been accused of toning down a positive report on drug overdose prevention centres, or in other words, supervised injection centres or drug consumption rooms. There's kind of multiple names there for these centres. But they've been accused of toning it down. And what they've done in this is that there was a part of the report that basically was saying that these centres have resulted in the saving of lives. And they kind of take it. They took the report down. They changed it and then they put it back up. So one line of the overdose prevention centres have contributed to lower rates of fatal overdoses was removed. But research has shown that developing a network of overdose prevention centres in British Columbia in Canada has saved around 230 lives in almost 2 years. So Martin Powell, who's the head of Transform, so Transform are partner actually with Neil Woods, and they were mentioned in that video that I was kind of saying to share. But they're a drug charity in the UK that advocates for legal and regulated drug markets to reduce harm. And he said political concerns seem to be taking precedence over evidence, and the Public Health England's independence and focus on evidence should be not be negotiable. He said, why was the original report taken down and why were the findings toned down? It's hard to see how this decision was motivated by evidence. Rather, it looks like a response to political pressure from a government determined to stick its views that safer consumption facilities are a distraction rather than an evidence-based approach to saving lives. So the revised version cites no evidence that weakens the original study, even adding new evidence that should strengthen it, and yet key conclusions, especially regarding impact on overdose deaths, have been removed in their entirety. At a time when drug deaths in Scotland and across the UK continue to spiral, and as medical support for safer consumption facilities becomes nearly universal, it is unacceptable for a report of this kind to be dealt with in this way. And that was a statement there from Martin Powell from Transform. And I 100% agree with what he's saying, because what I see in this is the people who benefit from the war on drugs, they're worried that this way in which the benefit is going to go away, that they're not going to be able to be seen as hard on drugs, to that population of voters that seem to vote for these people, because they do see it that way. Again, I go back to my conversation. Jeez, man, it really fucking annoys me, this conversation that I had, but it was with that independent bloody TD, I can't even think of his name now, here in Leaside. Jeez, what's his fucking name? Damn, I can't think of his name anyway. He's only fucking down the road from me, but I had a meeting with him just before the last election, and he's a gay man, and I thought we could have been able to sit down and have an open-minded conversation. But basically what he said to me is he couldn't support me on my issue around drug policy and drug policy reform because it's like it wouldn't go well with some of his voters. I'm like, man, come on. Like, I was like, how would you feel if somebody said that to you if you were campaigning for fucking gay rights? And he was like, oh, well, that's a different issue now. And I was like, no, it's not a different issue. Like, get off your high horse. Like, in fairness, like, Mustawa is legend. But, like, I was like, get off your high horse, man, and stop being so stigmatic towards us. And, like, in fairness, I went live after that, like, and I was so upset that day. It actually brought me to fucking tears. Like, I couldn't help it over the live video. I was like 2 or 3 minutes into it, and I was telling people what happened, like, I was just overwhelmed with emotions, like, and tears just started fucking coming out. Like, I just couldn't hold it back, because, like, this is something that means a lot to me. Like, it's really affected my life, and I've seen how it's affected so many other people's lives, like, not just cannabis, like, but, like, just the wider drug policy. Like, the people who's died because of needless, like, drug overdoses, because of, like, too pure of a drug. Do you know, like, the Marthas out there, Martha, geez, again, I'm terrible at names, but the 15-year-old girl, her mother, Martha Cockburn, her mother, Anne-Marie Cockburn, campaigns for it, like, but she died because the MDMA that she consumed was, like, 95% pure. So when she took it, like, it wasn't the usual stuff that she's taken, and it's crazy that a 15-year-old's taking it. But again, this is kind of prohibition that enables this sort of thing. And she died because of it, and yet still her mother campaigns for the legalisation of all drugs because she can see, like, the benefit to doing it. But yet even the people in the government, the people in Public Health England, like, they're taking it upon themselves, like, to kind of water down these reports that would have been in support of, like, a different approach, you know, in support of heroin-assisted therapies. Like, it's mad. It really is mad to think of it, like. Yellow Mellow says, a service tried to do needle exchange here in a small town and was helping those with safety and use, and the community refused to have them around, and now the town is flooded with needles around the place. It's mad. There's Wellington Road down the road here for me, and it's there was a few needle bins up there, and there was residents of the area campaigning to get rid of the needle bins because they were like, no, it's attracting people who use drugs to our area. And so it's like, no, you've got people in your area who use drugs who need these fucking needle bins to dispose of their needles because you don't want to be finding them on the road because there's a couple of schools in the area. And it's like, this is mad, like, you know, like when the residents are successful in getting rid of the needle bins, those will be the same residents campaigning to get, you know, that there's needles being found, and the cops need to be harder on these drug users, you know. Because the cops are actually equipped in actually preventing drug use. Like, yeah, they've done a good job at it so far. But But over in Scotland, as Scotland came up there, because there has been like quite a rise in overdose deaths, drug related deaths in Scotland. And in response to that, then one activist over there, and an amazing guy, like a national fucking hero in Scotland, if I will, like Peter. Peter Kyrant himself, he set up an overdose prevention centre, if you will, a drug consumption room, a safe space for people who consume drugs to consume them. And a lot of it was injecting drug users. And yeah, he went against government. He basically went down what was a civil disobedience act, and he provided a safe space for people to inject and consume their drugs. And he's saved many lives. He's prevented many drug overdoses. And you know, like the man feels responsible when somebody dies on the streets, and he wasn't there to prevent it, because like that's how much he cares about the drug users, and how like how important he sees his service in the community. And you know, he's a credit. Like he really is a hero, because he could get arrested for what he was doing. He really could, and he challenged it, and he's got the support there now of you know, is her name Nicola Sturgeon, I think is her name. One of the Scottish National Party members, I think. Jeez, sorry if I'm wrong and I'm putting her in the wrong party, but he's gotten support over there, like, and he's credit like to him. And I think Peter himself is actually running now soon for election as maybe a local representative in his area. So like, well done to him, like, and what he's doing. And we see him here pictured now, because what he has behind him is an ex-ambulance, a retired ambulance, and that's now his drug consumption room. Where people can go and inject and consume drugs safely, and get information which would help them, like with different things, you know, and just be like be cared, you know, like, because a lot of these people who find themselves in need of this service, just to be getting access to this service, just to meet Peter, you know what I mean, that there's a man here who cares about me. Nobody's ever cared about me in my life before. Wow, this means a lot. And like you're like, when these people are in there and they see what Peter's doing, and they, like the risk he's taking for them, like that means a lot to them. Like, and he's a really well respected guy in his area. Like, so we need more people like this guy. Like we really do, and I hope he gets elected. I really do. So well done, Peter. Boom. Yeah, they describe him in the article here actually as a guerrilla overdose prevention centre in Glasgow. And yeah, he's a fucking legend anyway, in fairness to him. And yeah, I'll get emotional on this one, because yeah, he's a fucking legend, and in fairness, like, you know, he's putting his life on the line going out there, like, well, he's freedom, I suppose, if you will, going doing this stuff, like, and meanwhile our politicians who are getting paid like fucking a crazy sum of money, like, where's the same passion from them? Where's the same dedication to our communities from them? There's not, like again, like, this man is going against public policy, and he's just like doing what is necessary. Like, imagine if, like, say Gino Kenny, if his bill falls flat in his face, and he just turned around and said, look lads, I'm just going to set up a cannabis collective. I'm going to grow some cannabis for the cannabis community, because it's the right thing to do, because there's lads out there, they're getting ripped off for cannabis, they're getting poor quality cannabis, you know, and there's fucking young people getting recruited into the life of dealing cannabis, and it's not good. We need to sort it out. Imagine if he did that, like, that'll be a man who cares. That's a passionate man. Would we see that? I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know, I'm probably putting him to a pretty high standard there. Maybe like expecting a lot of him. If it was me, I know for sure I certainly would be doing it. I'd be bringing a plant into the dial, and I'd be saying, like, here's a cannabis plant. Like, what's wrong with you? Do you know? I would be doing something like what Peter would be doing, maybe to support the people out there like that, and maybe facilitate some sort of a facility like that if I was given the money. Do you know what's a TD get these years? Like, is it like nearly 100 grand or something, 60, 70, 80 grand? I don't know. Like, if I got 80 grand a year, I definitely would be putting 20 grand to a retired ambulance, and I would, you know, Garrett McGovern out there, like, he's another legend of a man, and he's close to, like, I'm hopefully not like exposing your age, Garrett, or anything, but you're close to retirement soon, as I was kind of told. You were saying yourself, like, you want somebody else to take the reins, but like, man, here's a little passion project if you're there in your retirement, like, get out there and do something like this. It would be amazing, wouldn't it? Or support somebody else, maybe another youngster coming up in the ranks who would do something. And Greenbeard, Man, fucking thanks very much, man. You're a legend. Much appreciated for the support there. That's legendary. Thanks very much. But again, guys, I'm blown away by Peter, like, and what he does. Like, so I just had to bring it in. I know it's not cannabis related, but it's definitely drug policy related, and it has to be touched off of. Like, this guy's an inspiration. We need more people like him in the world. We certainly need more people like him in government. That's the most important place we need him. So yeah, here was the headline about a project for young people caught up in drugs trade at a funding cliff edge, and this is an organisation known as Try, and I'm just after losing this article there, forgive me. But basically, they're saying by June of this year, or maybe by July, their funding is going to dry up, and they're unsure if it's going to be renewed or if it's going to be continued. But there's a lot of people benefit off of this, and one of their locations actually is not too far from where the shooting took place the other night, where there was a 17-year-old teenager shot while flagging down a taxi. That was last week, actually. Forgive me. It was last week that young person was shot. But one of these centres, which is aimed at diverting these young people away from the life of drug dealing, they're going underfunded, and their doors are going to shut soon. Do you know? And meanwhile, like, we have people like Maurice Quinlivan saying, like, oh, but the guard stuff is essential. Like, but surely this is more essential. Surely it's more important that services like this go funded than it is that maybe our drug squad is funded. Like, surely it's more important that we try to divert the young people out of it by providing for them within the community rather than actually funding Gardaí to go and criminalise them. That makes no sense. Like, surely, like that, this is a more effective means of prevention, like these youth projects. So again, George Rowe, like, who was on the podcast, like, he's a credit to the service, like, and what he does. He's amazing. You know, the young people are lucky to have him, to look out for him, like, because what he's done is amazing. He's speaking up for them, wanting, like, really putting himself out there. Because there's many people within the youth services, as he said in the interview with me the last day, like, who kind of who agree with him and support him, but they do so quietly because of the stigma, you know. And really, like, if we were to legalise and regulate cannabis, like, if cannabis was legal and regulated in the morning, you know, just look at the raids that took place over the first 2 months of this year. I don't know, is there like €5 or €6 million worth of cannabis, just cannabis seized? Like, you put a 20% tax on that, and you know, that's a massive amount of money, and I'd like to imagine what you could do with that for these services, do you know? Imagine, and at the same time, you're chopping the drug gangs at the knees because you're taking away, like, their backbone, which is cannabis, because cannabis is probably the most widely consumed illegal drug in Ireland. This stuff it's a no-brainer, guys. It really is a no-brainer. I wasn't able to find that article, but do you know, it's that's the headline if you want to go and search it up and check out the group. I can't remember the name of the group that are losing the funding. But again, you know, these services, Maurice Quinlivan, in one of his responses, he did say to me, like, you know, these services are going underfunded, but he's not highlighting, like, where funds are going wasted. Do you know, the war on drugs, it's a massive, every penny spent on the war on drugs, it's a failure, it's a waste. We might as well just start putting a match to it, like, and just burning it, because it's about as effective. It's not money well spent. It's not. Put the money to the services like this, to nurses and doctors, to addiction centres like Garrick McGovern, and remove the stigma, so people who actually have addictions can go and seek out these services free from being stigmatised. It's like, oh man. But I'm preaching to the choir out there, guys. You know, I'm probably am. I know a lot of you already are cute on this stuff. Now you're wide on this, you know it. But, like, maybe this might reach the ears of somebody. You know, maybe there's a guard out there who's being paid to watch me, waiting on that troublesome fucking campaigner there who keeps bringing cannabis to the guard station. What's his next move? Keep an eye on him. Well, I hope you're learning. Final bit of news there, guys, so for you, and then I'll get to your comments, because I see loads of comments coming in there, guys. Thanks very much for all the comments, and a nice one to everybody who's made a donation there through the super chats as the shows went on, guys. Like, fucking That's bowed down to you guys, because you're going to help me on the next stage of the project, which is going to be bringing this podcast to another location, but not only the podcast, but providing a space in which we can bring together the community so we can hold events and organise ourselves as activists for drug policy reform in Ireland and for fighting for cannabis legalisation. So thanks very much everybody who's contributed financially, but everybody else who's liked, shared and commented. You help with the algorithms, which drives more people towards the show, which in hope might bring people who haven't heard these kind of messages before, which will make it all the more worthwhile me doing this. So thanks very much everybody who interacts. Everybody. So I see one person on Twitch. Thanks very much whoever's out there on Twitch. I don't know if I see your name in the comments back there. Let me know who you are. But there's 25 of you on YouTube. There's 18 of you out there on Facebook right now taking part in the show live. So thanks very much, guys. It means a lot. Thanks. So the final bit of news there, guys, for you, it is from the US, and it's a good bit of news. It's a nice high note to finish on, and it is that the cannabis sales in the US have hit a record 17.5 billion. So while Ireland is having services for young people to kind of get them away out of the hands of drug dealers that basically prohibition creates, prohibition is cutting us off from this lucrative sum of money which could be going to be used to fund services such as those. It makes no sense that we just don't do this, that we don't do it here in Ireland. I estimate the market to be worth around 2 billion in Ireland. I reckon at the start maybe 1 billion, but I reckon it'll get to 2, and I reckon in time to come that could be maybe 3, 4, 5, and as more products come, as more innovation takes off, it's not just the cannabis. You have clothes, you have the fibre can be used for so much once facilities are set there for it. It's crazy how much could be made from cannabis. And the US are, while they led the campaign to see cannabis made illegal around the world, they're now fucking benefiting off it massively, like $17.5 billion. That's crazy. And still yet in America, while they've made this amount of money, there's still people in prison. Life sentences, if without the possibility of parole for just cannabis, that's still, there's still people there. And well done to the Last Prisoner Project and other campaigners out there who've been campaigning and helping the prisoners stuck in prison for different drug offences, because none of you belong there, Free Ross Ulbricht, and anybody else out there who are locked up for drugs, that they don't belong there. They really don't. The war on drugs has been a failure. The best thing we can do is treat drug users in a compassionate way and not criminalise them. It's just so fucking backwards. It really is backwards. But the times are changing, guys. I do believe that. I really do believe that. And the longer this show goes on, the more this audience builds, the more campaigns we engage with, the more civil disobedience I'm going to go out there and engage with in. I believe all of this is going to be a catalyst in kind of getting that change to happen. It's why I started the show, is to be my own media, to be my own platform, because we seen the 2 protests there last year, my own 2 so far this year, and there's a 3rd one coming. Plans are on the way for this month, but they've been kind of pretty much ignored. That we had a big huge fucking gathering down at that Fitzgerald skate park, and it wasn't really covered by the media. Almost 200 people. The guards say we had more than 200 people. We were in breach of COVID. But let's say we had more than 200 people there. The media didn't cover it. Over 200 people show up to a park who were all smoking cannabis. The vast majority of them there were smoking cannabis. Yes, but the 60 to 70% of the crowd were very young. I would say maybe 20 and under. Some of them were probably 16, 17. But again, these are talking points. Why are 16, 17-year-olds getting access to cannabis? Well, because there's no age limit. But the media don't engage in it. They don't engage on the issue at all. They'll report on the raids. They'll do the job for the Gardaí. They'll make them look good. But they won't actually engage on the issue and tackle the real questions. They don't want to do real talk because it's all fake news. This is the real news here, guys. 420 News. Real fucking news. You know what I mean? We keep this shit real. Do you know, for shout out to Foxworthy News there as well, guys. Wash hands, smoke weed, repeat. Loving the t-shirt. But you know, guys, we have to keep it real. Call them out, like these politicians, you know, who pat themselves on the back. Like, call them out. They're benefactors. They're benefiting from the war on drugs. They're benefiting from the suffering of people out there, the drug users who are addicted and are getting criminalized and not getting the real help they need. Do you know, they're a part of the building up of the stigma against the illegal drug using community. Do you know that they're all responsible for this? Do you know, so when they pat themselves on the back as to be kind of responsible for coming down hard on these drug users, these drug dealers, remind them like how they're participating in a failed war on drugs, and you know, if they get more votes as a result of that, those votes are stained in blood. Do you know, the votes are the proceeds of crime, if you will. You know what I mean? It's wrong. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. It isn't, like, you know, if I make money from the proceeds of crime, surely these fucking politicians shouldn't be allowed to get votes from the proceeds. Like, they're proceeds of crime. Like Maurice Quinlivan, like what he's doing, that's proceeds of crime. He's trying to benefit off of these drug dealers and the criminality that was going on there, as he's coming down hard in it, like, you know. So let's call him out in it, like, really. And let's make some of this fucking dash here in Ireland, like, because it shouldn't be going into the hands of criminals. But again, like, it's not about the money. It's about the harm that's been done, the stigma, and about helping people who need help. So let's bunk on back to the comments, guys. And nice one, everybody out there, liked and shared from Podge. Thanks very much, Podge, and thanks very much for your support earlier as well. You're a legend. And yeah, I hope the old campaign on tobacco free is still going good. We had a month and a week now, is it? You'll probably lose count soon because it'll be so many days, man. So long may that continue there, Podge. Well done, bud. John O'Regan says, it can be hard to see the guards as anyway decent when you see the harm they do. Let's not forget that they're only human. And it's true, like, they are only human, and John shares a link there to the suicide and stress and mental health issues within the Garda force, and I will acknowledge it because they do some other stuff, you know, as they probably like to deal with us because it's easy, you know. It's so much easier than going to a rape victim or a murder scene or a car crash or, you know, any other kind of a traumatic kind of a scene or event or something like that the guards have to take part in, you know, like stopping and searching somebody like me for cannabis. It's like, oh, thank God, anyway, like, that there's like nothing traumatic involved in this, you know. But the guard is not realizing, like, you know, but I'm a victim. You're victimizing me. Like, this is traumatic for me. Come on, like, you know, I agree with them, like, that they should have an easier time, but not at my expense. Jog on, like. So yeah, a newbie to the channel, great work there from, and that comes in from Pete Lawler. Welcome along to the show, man. I hope you stick around anyway, and I'm glad you're after enjoying today's show anyway. Do check out the interviews there as well. There's some great interviews that have come out. I kind of really like my one with Pepe Rivera and the Mexican activist there. I think that's episode 12. But yeah, Ger Rowe as well, a recent one there is another amazing one. Ger Rowe is a youth worker in Dublin, so two great interviews to go check out if you haven't checked them out already. So do give them on, so check out Pete. And again, man, welcome to the family. Welcome to Martin's World. Yellow Mellow, oh wow, congrats Martin, I'll check it out and give him a vote. Cheers. Excellent stuff. Yellow Mellow, you in Scotland, yeah? Nice one, if that's the case. Oh no, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, that wasn't to repeat her vote. Actually, you're on about me because Greenbeard is after making people aware there in the comments that there was cannabis awards after being put up online. And I've been nominated. The show has been nominated for an award from the Cannabis Activist Awards, I think it's called. I'll share a link with it there at some stage. I think the voting is opened until the 26th of March or something like that. So dude, there's a couple of other Irish names there. Natalie O'Regan, who's also been a guest on the show in the past, is up there. You've Gino Kenny is up there. Kenny Tynan, I think, is another. The Cannabis Patient podcast. yeah, there's a couple of others up there as well. So do definitely check them out and give us an old vote while you're there, guys. Nice one, appreciate it. Other comments coming in there that I can see. Podger Donovan, it's a horrible thing, all right, when you get labelled a druggie, all because you enjoy/need a plan to get relief, and helps in so many ways. The medical groups are only finding out more and more over time. Hashtag free to weed, yes. Yeah, man, free weed. Yeah, you're dead right though. Like it is wrong that people will stigmatize and label a druggie, and it gets in the way. It's a barrier to seeking out proper help there from different medical groups, because as soon as you kind of mention the fact that you use cannabis, like if you're seeking out help within the mental health services, like boom, no, oh geez, you're using cannabis. Oh my god. But actually, there's not that like. Unless you're some sort of a schizophrenic, like they say. But even then, like maybe cannabis could be beneficial if they have the right strain, like do you know. But yeah, like, they're so quick to demonize and stigmatize people. Great stuff, Martin. Well deserved in the nomination. Nice one, John. Appreciate it. Yeah, and also, guys, I just like to apologise there for the other night after the event. I had promised to stay around to do chats for about 15-20 minutes after the event, just to shoot the breeze with you. But the kids went to bed a lot earlier than expected that night. The kids have been staying over with me that night, so I had to shut down shop here. Everybody was after kind of going to bed, my mum, dad, and stuff like that. So I had to shut up shop, and yeah. So sorry, guys. Yeah, other comments coming in there. Vincent says 70% of the country have admitted to using cannabis. I'm sure at least 75% of those people would instantly get behind any political party that campaigns for drug reform. Do they not want voters? They do. And did you not see what the Green Party did there, Vincent, when they were campaigning? They put cannabis decriminalization. I think that they use the coffee shop model as part of their campaign manifesto, and they got a lot of votes as a result. A lot of young people voted for the Green Party because they thought that they were going to be the people to get cannabis legalization done. You know, the name seems fitting. Unfortunately, they didn't. They betrayed the people. They went against the word. They didn't campaign for it to be even included in the government manifesto when they got into the bed with the Green, or with Finnegan and Fianna Fáil. So yeah, there has been political parties have benefited from it. Definitely, for sure. People before profit, they're certainly going to get a lot of support now for their members because of Gino Kenny's bill come summertime. And hopefully there is an election called soon, and hopefully they do see the support reflected in it. But again, I hope they run a lot of members. I hope more people sign up for maybe people before profit. It's one thing signing up to be a member, but actually run for them. If there's nobody running in your constituency reflecting your views and values, why don't you run? And run as a member maybe for people before profit. I'm sure Gino Kenny and crowd up there will help you and equip you and train you in order to speak and participate. If you all feel that you're not a good public speaker, join your local Toastmasters, engage in public speaking, learn how to speak, stand up and represent yourself in your own local community, your own constituency. If you don't believe there's somebody running who represents your views and values, definitely go for it. And yeah, there is votes for it. I've gotten them. I ran as a nobody here in Cork City and on my very first outing in a by-election, and I got 291 votes. That doesn't sound like a lot, but I topped the independents that outing, and there was 5 of them that time, and 3 of them I think were after running before and done very well before, and I done better than them on first preference votes. So happy fucking days. That was a credit to me and what I was campaigning for. I was speaking the truth. I was doing real talk at the door. That's what people wanted. You do real talk. People can relate to you. You might not win, but you get the issues heard. And that's important. So definitely, guys, participate. Sign up. If it's not people before profit, maybe Sinn Féin. If it's not a political party, go independent. That's what I did. I went independent, and there's no reason why you can't. And just to finish on that one, again, if you do want to run an election, It costs €500 a deposit. I believe you get it back if you get a certain amount of votes. I can't remember what percent. It's a percentage of the quota anyway you have to get back, and you get your 500 quid back if you reach that. Or you can get 30 people from your local constituency to sign a piece of paper at the guard station nominating you to run for the election, and it won't cost you a penny then. So those are two ways. I done it the second way. I rang up a couple of people. I said, hey guys, I'm going to run for an election. I need you to go to the guard station to sign this piece of paper, bring your ID. And 30 people done it, man. And thanks very much, everyone who did that for me at that time, because it meant a lot to me. It saved me $500. Well, did it? I don't know. I think I might have got my $500 actually back with the number of votes I got. Even at that, like, because it was the first preference votes. So yeah, definitely do run in your local or the national elections when they take place, if there isn't somebody in your constituency or your area reflecting your views and opinions. But you need to find out quick. You need to know now, because you only have 7 days. That's where I fucked up the second time I ran. I didn't know you have only 7 days to get your nomination in. I had all my papers done, everything with all the lines done, everything, all signed, and I didn't realise I'd only 7 days. I thought I had 2 weeks or something like that to get it in, but from when the election was called, and no, you've only 7 days. The day the election is called, you have 7 days to get your nomination papers in. So guys, a bit of wisdom for you, so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Get your nomination papers in on time. Let's go down to some of the newer comments there, guys. Vote number 1 from Martin for the Golden Bong Awards. Yes, I would love a Golden Bong. And Podge said he's still tobacco free a month plus now. Happy days, Podge, man. I look forward to maybe sharing a bong hit with you someday, man. And or maybe even the old vape there. We can get together and get the volcano out, definitely. And Podge says there that the Jur interview is a brilliant watch as well. So that's going back there to Peter. Peter, if you want to watch that, Podge is saying there that's a good one to start. Pete Lawler actually says, Chair's great points about turning it into a legitimate business. I'm in Barcelona and we have private clubs, lots of tax, a fair few jobs and less work for the cops. It's a no-brainer. There you go. Like in Barcelona, they're doing really well. In fairness, there is lots of clubs. I'm not too sure of the tax that the clubs pay and all that. I know they're kind of run as not-for-profits. But I'm not too sure how much tax that they get on it. But I'd imagine if they are charging tax, it would be a lot. Because I know a lot of people who've been to Barcelona and they love the clubs there, spoke really highly of them. So yeah, good to hear. Maybe if I might visit sometime, I do have Barcelona on my list of places to travel once we're able to go again. I plan to do some shows on the road. Patch says, great show as always, Martin, and congratulations on the nomination, and I hope everyone has a smoke for the weekend. Me too, and I hope everybody has a nice peaceful weekend as well out there, and that the old Gardaí don't interfere with you. Hope they leave all me fans alone. Yeah, I would hate to be like fucking covering one of your news here someday, like, you know, for you to be watching and being like, oh no, Martin's reporting my news story. That was my the cops talk, Martin. It's going to happen someday, guys. It probably is. Like, it's a small island we live on. My audience has grown. Yes, got that pun in there. Yes. John Finnegan says, you were too comfy in your house coat and with your big mug of Horlicks. We all saw you, Martin. Don't be blaming the kids. Yeah, I was drinking a big old mug of tea, actually. I didn't have the Horlicks in there. It was an old cup on tea. And I had a few sneaky chocolate digestives there as well. You mightn't have seen the chocolate digestives. I don't know. I might have snuck them in off camera. But yeah, I was very comfortable there. I certainly did. I had my house coat on. It was a chilly night that night, actually, as well. But yeah, but it was the kids' fault. It was all the kids. Paul Gray, exactly, Greenbeard. He's replying here to Greenbeard. He says, the day after the last election, I was asking Malcolm Noonan's advisor a story with cannabis now. He turned his back and ran away. It was just a ploy to get votes. There you go, man. You can't trust this political lot at all. Like, and nothing against Gino. Like, he's a great politician and everything. He's done a lot up to now. But again, if this bill falls flat in its face, where does he go from there? Like, what's his next step? Does he have a next step? Does he have a bill maybe lined up for just wider drug decriminalisation of all drugs maybe, and he's going to announce that soon? I don't know. Or is he going to maybe turn politician to activist and actually campaign maybe a bit more? I don't know. I suppose politicians aren't activists. We have to try to differentiate the both. While I believe I'm an activist, I always kind of seen Gino Kenny as an activist in a politician's position. But maybe he's just a politician, and I'm wrong on him being an activist. But maybe he can prove me wrong someday. Gino. Pat Whelan says Gino Kenny interview. Yeah, hopefully someday. I have extended the invite there to him. So Gino, if you're ever watching the show, man, the invite's still open. Any day you want, I would gladly have you on. Maybe you want to announce the details of the bill with me. Maybe you want to discuss it with me and give me the exclusive. That would be decent. But again, man, the invitation's always open to Gino. I would love to have him on the podcast anytime at all, and I wouldn't give him too hard a time. I certainly do in my views, and Gino's entitled to him. He does do a lot of other stuff as well, I will give him that. Any other comments coming in there? I interviewed Luke Flanagan recently. Happy days, Greenbird. Delighted to hear that, man. I look forward to that show. Is that going to be out Sunday evening? Is that Sunday for the High and Homegrown podcast with Luke Ming Flanagan? Not plugging the show at all, but that's Sunday at 9 p.m. on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, if memory serves correct, for the High and Homegrown podcast. An excellent stoner hangout, great conversations had, to get lads cover many topics there, and did even do a higher on homegrown podcast as well, which I enjoy as well, as I'm doing my editing. So next week, so that's going to be next Sunday, so Sunday week, so as for Luke Ming Flanagan. So yeah, who have you got on this week, Greenbird? Do let us know now, as people might want to tune in their Sunday evening. People might have their Sunday evening free, and they might be looking for some more good old cannabis related content on the High and Homegrown podcast. Oh yes, I got some lubrication there. Yeah, as he said, every Sunday at 9. And who's the guest this week there, or is it coming up? You probably commented there's a 10-second delay there from YouTube. I'm going to do an old 10-second bong hit. Oh, there it goes. Hannah Deacon, I believe that would be. You said Hannah Devon, but I believe that's Hannah Deacon. Is that correct? She's the mother, I think, of Alfie. Is that Alfie's mother? But yeah, Hannah Deacon, she's a legend as well. She's a mother of a patient who's gotten access to cannabis in the UK. I think it's Alfie was her son, but I could be wrong there. But do guys check that one out there as well, and I'll certainly be over there myself as well. I'll try to be in the chat group there along with you guys, but I'm gonna get this bong hit into me. Yeah, Greenbird said as it is, so it is Alfie's mother. Happy days. So guys, whew, that was a strong hit by. And for a change, I'm actually smoking something different today. My regular supply has dried up there. My buddy who does a bit of growing, he's not due to restock for another little bit. So another buddy who was nice enough to secure me some Star Dog. So I got some Star Dog here this afternoon or this evening, and it's tasty. In fairness, like it's got a nice smell to it and everything as well. So props to whoever the grower was out there for that. I don't know who the grower was. I got it off a buddy who got it off a buddy who got it off a buddy. Like this is the chain, the links that goes on. Like the first two people made a profit. My buddy who got it for me, he didn't make anything, like, but he went and collected it and he brought it to me. And that's the annoying thing as well. Like, I suppose as we're on that topic, like, is he went and got that for me for nothing, But if he got caught with that, like he was getting done for dealing, because he picked up 1.5 ounces, because he picked me up a half ounce, he picked up himself a half ounce, and he picked up somebody else a half ounce. So he picked up an ounce and a half. If he got caught with that ounce and a half, like, he was going to get probably done for sale and supply, because he probably would have had he's smart actually. He probably would have had his messages deleted from his phone. But he probably would have got done for sale and supply for just a good deed of being a fucking legend of a buddy and kind of hooking me up in my time of need. It's like, this is what goes on. It's like it's mad to think. But like, nice one out there again. I think I seen my buddy's name pop up there in the audience. I won't expose him. You know who you are. But like, this is why I'm so supportive of people. Like, even if they get caught with even a kilo, like, I think so. I think we all need to support them. Like, and we shouldn't be so, but he's a dealer, he was making money. Like, none of we need to support them all. Because, like, even the guy who gets a kilo, like, so what if he was making a bit of money? Like, he was still supplying a service to the community. Again, like, is it his fault that the supply he got was crap? Like, is it? Like, I don't know, it's the policymakers who make it so, like, so we need to change that, and that's what we're here doing, I suppose, and that's what we're all going to do. And I see Teresa says there that I don't think Gino would turn on his word. He is the one bringing the legislation and promoting the decriminalisation. No, I never would say that Gino would turn on his word, not for a second. I would never accuse the man of doing that anyway, that's for sure. If he say he's putting a bill forward, definitely he's putting a bill forward. But I suppose what I have been saying is, I suppose, preparing for, it seems, the inevitability that the bill is going to fail. Like, what's his next step? Excuse me. Like, is he going to escalate it? Would Gino become an activist then, or is it just on to the next political assignment? Like, and sorry lads, better luck next time. We'll do another bill there in a couple of years. Like, I don't know. Like again, George Rowe mentioned on the talk on Wednesday evening, like, he kind of mentioned the date 2025. But he also said, like, but it is up to the people. Like, it's up to us. Like, so we could change that. And he does say he has faith in people to get that done. But on the government, if we're to rely on the government, if we're to rate on politicians like Gino Kenny, like, yes, we could be looking at 2025. Like, so again, like, I reiterate myself, guys, it's me and you out there, the people listening to this, like, the citizens of Ireland, like the people here in the country, because I see some people are in Barcelona, but like, it's us who could speed this things up. Like, April 20th, don't forget, like, I'm going to have a protest here in Cork City, and let's make sure, like, it's not going to be a super spreader event and all of this stuff. We're not going to have any of this negative publicity attached to it. We're going to have no violence. It's going to be nice and peaceful, and we're going to have our little protest or little march, and there's going to be a bit of civil disobedience on the day. But peaceful, and it's up to us. And I think a massive civil disobedience campaign is what could get this thing over the line. Like, if we just did it, like, a massive one, 200,000 arrests the Gardaí make a year. How much do you think of that is drugs? Like, it's a massive portion. It's like, I think it's like 60 or 70% of the guards arrests is like all drugs. It's a massive proportion of the arrests. It's crazy. So like, if we were to go out and replicate that, like, ourselves as the community, like, if we aimed for, I don't know, 50,000 fucking cases of civil disobedience, like, all over the country, just little groups of people, like, a little militia of civil disobedience participants, just all actively engaged, just going to the Garda station, like, just not afraid of the repercussions, they're like not afraid of the guard when he turns around and goes, I'm going to raise your house, as he did to me, because that, you all might have seen that if you seen the live event that I streamed that day. He said it, he's like, oh, do you have more at home? I can raise your house now. He's like, I think I'm going to raid your house. And like, to this date, they haven't. But like, the only thing I have here right now is my cannabis, like my little bit of personal possession. If he wants to come, I have my cameras ready. Like, I'll be only happy for him, like. I would nearly bring it to him, like, but I'm enjoying it too much. I'll bring him the CBD. Not against the CBD, it's just that's easy to get. This stuff fucking isn't, and this is not as cheap as the CBD. Like, CBD is nice. It's easy to go to the cops with. So yeah, like, civil disobedience, guys. This is how we're going to get this done. Like, just a massive campaign of it. Like, let's fight for a right to grow. Do you know, a seed in a pot, like as I done the first time in August, a seed in a pot, just go in, I cannabis seed in here, I'm growing cannabis. And the guard has to do his job. That's the beauty of this. He has to do his job. This is what they always tell us. They have to do their job. They keep telling us this shit. Like, let's use it against them. So nice one, Angela, for following. But let's use it against us, back against them. The thing that they keep telling us. Oh, we have to do our job. Well, okay, let's do your job. I have a hemp seed. I have a cannabis seed right now, and I'm putting it into dirt. This is cultivation of cannabis. Do your job, Gard. And he has that. He has to send it for analysis. Imagine, guys, like we could overwhelm him. Like if we all just focused our efforts on one Garda station, the Garda station would like fucking have a problem because like they're going to run out of room. They'd run out of room because like they'd have too many pots with fucking seeds in them that have to go off for analysis attached to so many individuals. Like imagine guys, like, and it's so peaceful. It's so simple. And they don't have enough room in prisons to lock us all up. Like, they can't even lock up the guys who are breaking in and robbing houses. Like, so I hope that they have locking up people who are campaigning for a better society. Because that's what we're doing. Like, if we go out there and engage in this sort of thing, we're protesting. That's what we're doing. While I have cannabis here right now, I'm exposing myself, but this is a protest. I'm doing this in protest. This whole show is a protest. Martin's World, the whole thing is a protest. It's publicly outing myself as a cannabis consumer in a society where I'm an illegal individual. Just like I'm illegal right now. Look on screen right now. Illegal. This is illegal right now. This is a protest. This whole show, everything is a protest. Like, we need to take this to the streets, to the Garda stations, the local ones, like to your own if you're so willing, like, or come down to mine. You know, but it's like, yeah, let's fucking do this. Like, I'm really looking forward to 420 this year, guys, because we were robbed of it last year, and I'm not going to allow the same thing to happen this year. The numbers are going down at the moment. Like, long may that trend continue. Like, I think there's only like 40 people in or something like that at the moment in Cork with COVID. Or something like that, like our positive cases, something like that anyway. The daily cases is like 40 or 30 or something like that in Cork. It's fucking low, like it's really low, like, so that's a good thing. Like, let's keep going down, like, so how long may that continue? Bring on April 420. It's going to be 6 weeks away on Tuesday coming, so get ready, guys. Guys, I'm an hour and 15 minutes into the stream. I'm probably going to be waffling on like a bloody idiot here in a couple of minutes because couple of bong hits in, and it's Friday evening and all that, like, but yeah, I see some comments there before we go. John Finnegan, yeah, that star dog, it is nice, 100%, man. It's quite tasty, actually. It's my first time acquiring it, actually. Vincent, I need a buddy like that. Yeah, man, we all need buddies like that. I love that guy. And Greenbeard said, thank guys, if you want to learn how to grow and good banter, pop over. Thanks again for the Plow Marty, or the Pull Marty. Not a bother at all, guys. It's more than happy to promote the show. Like, you do a great show over there, and definitely the learning to grow. If anybody needs information on how to grow cannabis, like, the internet is your friend. If you're worried about your privacy, use the Tor browser. I believe you'll be able to access Percy's grow room and different cannabis grow forums and different kind of YouTube videos through your Tor browser, so you can protect your identity if you wanted to. Or you can just go onto Google and just fucking search it, and it's grand. Like, do you know what I mean? The guards are out there. They can't even keep up with the fellas who are openly selling stuff on Snapchat. And you think if you go onto the Google and you're going to search in how to grow cannabis, that your house is going to get raided? Come on, like, in fairness, like, there's lads of fucking Instagram pages, Snapchat pages, like, and they're just blatant out selling edibles, cannabis, Xanax, coke, like, they're selling it all just out there. And you think you're going to get raided because you searched up how to grow cannabis? Don't worry about it. Just search it up, like. But if you are worried about it, use a Tor browser and go to Percy's Grow Room and check out the Lads High and Homegrown podcast too, because they give nice growing tips there as well as they go through their show. But yeah, sorry, plugging the boy show again. Podge Donovan says, I didn't say he would. It's just a fair. Oh yeah, it was Podge. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was Podge there that Teresa was replying to. Sorry, within the comments. Yeah, no, that's grand. Yeah, I should only be reading the comments that say at Martin, but I keep reading out all your comments anyway, just to kind of see what's going on out there. Paul Gray says some types of decriminalisation are better than some types of legalisation. Don't forget that Spain has decriminalisation but has clubs to hang out in and smoke. Canada does not have such clubs. Yeah, Spain has a form of decriminalisation, but it's still illegal there. Actually, like when you're at the club in Spain, you're supposed to actually leave your cannabis there, and they're supposed to mind it for you, and it'll be there then when you come back the next night. That you're not actually supposed to leave the premises on you, because the cops actually could stop and search outside, and I think there is still a fine attached to it. I don't know, is there like I think it's like, is it 20 or 40 euro or something? Maybe it might be a very small fine. But you still get fined for it, I believe. I could be wrong now, like, correct me if I'm wrong there, but I do believe the cops can still stop you, search you, and take your cannabis. And I think there's a small monetary fine to go with it, but no criminal conviction, as it has been decriminalised in that sense. But yeah, you are right. Some are better than others, like, and some are even better than legalisation, as we've seen in Canada. But yeah, like I think the thing we really need to fight for is our right to grow as a cannabis community. Not really legalisation, because unless the legalisation includes your right to grow. But yeah, it's important we get our right to grow. And then once we've our right to grow, we can form clubs, we can form associations. Like, that's important. Like, once we can form clubs and associations, then me, you, and a couple of buddies, like, we can get together, chip our money together, rent out a premises, grow a bit of cannabis for ourselves, distribute it amongst ourselves, and, you know, cut out the outer market. And it would be great if we could do that. It would be amazing to do that. And I would see something like that happening if we were to get our right to grow here in Ireland. Planted thousands of hemp seeds around here recently. Good man, Ken. Happy days. That's good to hear. Definitely, guys. I'm going to be germinating some seeds myself in different areas around the city as well. And doing a bit of guerrilla growing. And I'm going to start up a thread, actually. I'm not going to start up a thread. I'm going to take part in the thread over on Percy's Green Grow Room. That Greenbeard, I think, has started that one up, which is guerrilla growing around Ireland. So I'm going to start taking part in that, and like start taking photos of the different locations and stuff like that for the crack, you know. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that there very soon. The weather seems to be improving a little bit. It's still very cold. I don't think we're past the last frost just yet. I think we might get another 1 or 2 frosty nights, but soon I think we'll be past that. Once we're past that, get those seeds popping, baby. Or maybe get them popping on your windowsills. Dave Gorman says, the way our government is, if they were overloaded with cannabis cases and they ran out of room in jail, they would start shooting us instead. Now, that would be an interesting headline around the world. Ireland starts executing cannabis prisoners as they've ran out of room in jail for them. Imagine the bill they would have, like, you know, it would be crazy. Yeah, it would be crazy, because they have to pay for the bullets then. And there's a lot of us out there, lad. There's a lot of us. Colin, if I did that, I'd go straight to prison. Have you got some previous's, or what's the crack, man? I don't know. I'm willing anyway. I'm willing to go to prison. If more of us are willing to go to prison, just remember there's power in numbers. They don't have room for us all. So like, while you might go straight to prison, like if you're part of the collective, if you're part of the group, the campaign, man, just be like, yeah, strength in numbers. That's the important one, isn't it? Man, look at all those comments bait in there for some reason. Whoa, what happened there? I must have lagged out there, did I? I don't know what happened there. Anyway, just fucking, loads of comments just bait in there. Did I just get a repeat of a load of comments, actually? Not too sure what happened there. Boom. What do you think the best strain for guerrilla growing in this country? Love the screen, by the way. The best strain for guerrilla growing. That's a tough one now, to be fair. I know of 1 or 2 that I've done myself. It was Gorilla Gusto and Early Pearl. And the Gorilla Gusto actually done very well. It done very well indoors. I grew one of them indoors at the time, but there was an outdoor one done as well. And yeah, that did pretty good outside, in fairness. there is a video up online, and it was put up. It was a Grillo Gusto that I gave to a friend of mine, and he grew it out his back garden, and it's Outdoor Plant Ireland, I think, is the title of the video. It's up on YouTube. Do you know what? Do you know what? No, as I'm talking about it, I'm just gonna fucking go on to it, because I'm just gonna stay on a few more minutes anyway. Outdoor Ireland plant. Let's see if this gets it up. Oh, it's actually under my account, I think, because I put the video up. It is too. There it is, the very first one. So I'm going to pop this one up, and this is a Grillo Gusto. You can get this from Sensei Seeds, but also I think there's a few strains there you can get from the Funky Skunk. I don't know if they still do it. It's called the West Coast Wanderer, but it's a good strain as well for Grillo growing around the place. So I'm going to pop this up there for you. Hopefully this works out there. Yeah, there you go. So this is an outdoor plant that a friend of mine grew. And this was just up here on the north side of the city. Big, massive fucking pot in it, like, and look at the height of her. Like, she was huge. Like, she was so big, like he gave me permission this day to record. I'm going to turn off the audio there, sorry. But he gave me permission there that day to record this, and I kind of hopefully didn't expose his location and stuff, like, but looked at this video is fucking over 10 years old, like, but my camera quality wasn't great back then either, as you can kind of see. But like, in fairness, like, it was a very nice plant, like, it was it done really well, and this is what's achievable outdoors. Just a word of warning, he had to bring this indoors because it started flowering about like September, which was problematic. It was like late in September when it started flowering. So like come late October, there was feck all real buds formed, and it was getting really cold. The sunlight was going down. So actually what it turned out in the end, like, while it was amazing, it's amazing to look at it like in all her glory here, like, she's a beautiful plant. Actually, now that I think of it, yeah, it didn't finish that well outdoors because its photo period actually didn't allow it to start flowering. You want something that starts flowering like August, September. You want it to be very sensitive to the photo period, like, you know, it needs to be sensitive, you know, it shouldn't need like the 12-12, like, you know, that kind of stage, like, it should just need the slight difference. So yeah, I'll see if I can look around for some strains, but definitely do get in touch with the guys at the Funky Skunk. They did have one that was kind of being acclimatized, that was grown by some of the guys down around West Cork and stuff like that. But it's only sold as a souvenir because it's like, oh, it's cool to own like some of the old West Cork hippies weed seeds. So it's a souvenir purposes, guys. Don't grow that stuff, like, by all means. Jeez, disregard everything I said there for the last 15 minutes. But yeah, that was it was a monster of a plant there. Podge says it's a beast. I'm just waiting for somebody from the forum to come on and say she needs more CalMag there, but could have done with a bigger pot. I always found plants that I've come across started August 10-ish. Okay. Yeah, he definitely could have done with a bigger pot there. Like, he wasn't expecting it to grow that big. When I gave it to him, it was like only about maybe 12 inches or something like that. Yeah. But again, what you're looking for anyway, guys, if you are looking for outdoor varieties, you're looking for varieties that are acclimatized to, I think are we in region 5, I think, or something like that, in regions. I think we're in like region 5, like there's like zones from the equator. So I think Ireland like lies somewhere there, like in that region 5. I could be wrong, don't question me, but look it up. Like, you just want them to be zoned like that. And again, shout out to Sensei Seeds, like they did zone their plants as according to the regions in which they would flower well in. So do check them out. Yeah, look, guys, I see loads of comments coming in. AK-47 is best for hair coming in from Podge. Good, nice one for sharing that there, Podge. I'll have to get some AK-47 seeds myself and test that, put that one to the test. Frisian duck as well as another one, or Frisian Jew. Early skunk as well. Depends if you've full sunlight. And that's coming in from Paul Gray there. So yeah, there's a couple of them being recommended here as well. Mr. Always says Royal Queen Seeds Northern Lights is a good one. So hopefully this is coming in here from people who know from experience or who've been for yeah, what's the term online? Swim. Someone who isn't me, one of their friends shared the knowledge with them. Because none of the people here commented to engage in illegal activity, guys, do you? No, yeah, you're all upstanding citizens. um, Holland's Hope is an early flower, works well outdoors, anything from Netherlands as similar climate. And yeah, Bitcoin as power is bang on there as well. Yeah, anything from Holland, they do have a good climate there. And again, Sensei Seeds is a seed company over there. So do definitely check them out. And again, I'm not affiliated in Sensei Seeds at all in any way. It's just they'll always kind of hold a place in my heart nostalgically, because it was the first cannabis plants that I'd ever grown came from Sensei Seeds. So yeah, they'll always hold that place there with me. So I have no problem kind of sending you their way. But yeah, there's some very good recommendations coming in here in the comments as well, guys. All very valid. So thanks very much to everybody. So to reconnect. Yeah. Apologies there, guys, if the stream is kind of giving me issues. It says it was just reconnecting there. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for checking in the show. Greenbeard is saying, beavered caution female be one of them. Is it beavered caution female? I don't know. Oh, Percy's Grow Room has its new strain now available from the forum. Percy's Beans. Happy days. I haven't seen that. That must have been a recent development. So congratulations, guys. Coming up there. Seeds now available over on Percy's Grow Room. So happy feckin' days. Any other comments coming in there? There, Patrick Corwin says they won't lock up the guys robbing houses. Simple reasons equals they need them to justify the need for larger police forces. Yeah, and that's what they need the drug raids for as well, because if they're not taking all the drugs off the streets every week, sure, like what else are they doing? Like really, like they'd actually have to go after the robbers, and that's hard to do. Like that would actually require proper investigative police work, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it really? Like they would actually have to do their job. They would actually be earning their money in a meaningful way. Jeez, that would be a shame if that ever had to happen. Imagine if the guards actually started catching robbers and like fucking murderers and stuff more effectively. Jeez, I look forward to that day. Dingleberry I'm looking at. Is Dingleberry a cannabis strain? I'm hoping so. Hope you're not calling me a Dingleberry. By the way, I just checked the 3 Frisian duck seedlings I planted across from the guard station in Loud. 6 inches already. Excellent, man. I'm delighted to hear that. Get some pictures if you will, if you wouldn't mind. I would love to see them. And if you want me to share them, let me know. But I'd love to see them anyway. Unless you give me permission, I won't share them. But I would love to see them. But well done, man. Excellent stuff. Happy days. Yeah, that's where we plant them. All of the guard stations around the place have little flower plots. Like, so get them in there, guys. Let's do this. If you want that as well, guys, if you want to put a little plant a label in it, and you can put Martin's World on it, right, Martin's World, take a picture. Represent, guys. Let the guards know who sent them. Paul Gray, a polytunnel or bespoke greenhouse for better plants and discretion. Are a polytunnel or bespoke greenhouse? I don't know, actually. I can't tell. I see like people with polytunnels and stuff like that have issues with humidity, so you want to make sure you have your ventilation well sorted out. You probably want to be running fans. But in fairness, like I suppose I could say, like I finished one at my back garden here last year, and not out my backyard, down, yeah, well, in a polytunnel. And yeah, it finished up well. I had a few issues with mold at one point. There was definitely like some issues with mold. I had to keep on top of it. It didn't get out of hand. Had I sent the flowers for testing afterwards, they probably could have been, maybe, I don't know. But that's the problem. But to me, to the human eye, to the inspection, like as the buds were, they looked fine. They looked like there wasn't mold in them. It was fine, and yeah, it was nice. But yeah, definitely in polytunnels here in Ireland, you can have issues with mold and stuff. So definitely make sure your humidity is under control if you're going to grow in a polytunnel. Um, Decriminalize drugs, they'd have to lay off half the force. Yeah, but look, in hindsight, like I have an interview to be released there where there's an ex-sheriff in Texas. No, he wasn't. It was New Mexico he's from, and he's now a cannabis dispensary owner. So yeah, there's jobs there for them if they sort this out. How many cops would get into like growing cannabis? I wonder how many cops would start consuming cannabis if they were allowed. I would imagine a lot. Um, some comments coming in. Make a polytunnel and humidity, all that, no problem. If you know what you're doing, better plants that are outside from experience. Yeah, definitely, man. You definitely will get better plants inside or in the polytunnels. But can they grow outside still? They can, but the problem here in Ireland is rain. So if you got big fat nugs, like, and we get some rainy nights, like, you have to cover your plants up, like, you have to keep them protected from the rain. You don't want that water like fucking just blasting down onto your plants, big lovely nugs and kind of seeping in between the buds, and just as a recipe for disaster. So yeah, that's the problem with outdoor growing. So yeah. John says plant flowers and encourage ladybugs near the plants. Definitely. All right, Man Falls. See a comment coming in there from Man Falls. He says, "Hi Martin, there's no volume here on Twitch. Laughing loud. Should I just move to YouTube? What a kick in the nuts. What's after happening to me volume? Um, Apologies about that there over on Twitch. I don't know what's happening there with my volume. Maybe the same problem is happening on Facebook as well. It seems possibly. I don't know. I'm down to 8 viewers. Maybe it could be because I said goodbye there about 5 minutes ago. Everybody thought I was gone, and I fucking went on for another 5 minutes. Right, I will go this time, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna sign off as I pack up another ball. So enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Have a good weekend and everything. Keep an eye out for an interview. There's an interview going to drop out over. Teresa saying Facebook is grand. Problem is just on Twitch. I'll see what happened over on Twitch. I'll put me fucking investigation on afterwards. But have a good weekend, everybody. Stay blazed out there and keep her lit. And I'm gonna blast off another Star Dog before I unwind for the evening. Yes. Ooh. Cottonmouth was real. Oh my god, like such nasty side effects of cannabis, isn't it? Cottonmouth. Have a good weekend, everybody.